holy moly, the shock at the end of this episode of Ultimate Fighter was crazy. But we got to talk about the fights first, and we'll get to the ending. So just a little recap. It was just all about the fights. It was all about the fights, and it was all about the first fight, Saul Rogers versus Team McGregor's Marcin Resek. I mean, they're both Team McGregor, of course. Saul really dominated the fight. I mean, he took him to the ground the first round and in the second round. I mean, he really just did a lot of ground and pound, and he was able to get a rear naked choke and just choke him out. And because Marcin really did give Saul his back, and that was it. That was really it. It was not that very great. It wasn't all too entertaining. Saul did his job. You got to give it to Saul. He did his job. He got him to the ground. That's what Saul does. He does some ground and pound, which is that's his game, man. That's his game plan. So he wins. He moves on to the ultimate finale. We also had Team McGregor's Artem. I think we're all looking forward to this. Artem versus Team Faber's Julian Erosa. Now Artem is like, this guy's a beast, man. I mean, I like this guy. He has great hands. He's amazing. He's just a really great striker, and it's so funny. It's crazy how he makes people look like fools, or he's above everybody else. He's had a couple good ground, tough fights. I mean, Chris did give him a fight, even though Chris ended up being winded and really just get demolished towards the later rounds. But Julian, this guy, I don't know about him. Honestly, I just he's not my favorite. I don't even really like rooting for this guy. He just has his he kind of reminds me of Miles Teller for some reason. He has his attitude, and his fighting style is not what Artem has an interesting fighting style too, but Julian, I don't know. I just never saw him going far, and kind of right with that, because Artem just knocks his ass out. He knocks his ass out. Like McGregor was saying that, and Faber was saying, listen, Julian was trying to, it was mostly McGregor. Julian was trying to make space. He would go with he leaned with the right. He got caught by leaning with the right, but he was trying to make space. But Artem just that pressure, man. He just provides so much pressure, and Julian wasn't. He just wasn't moving around, using the surroundings quite as much. And Artem was just really just going after Julian, really just staring him down, going and landing his famous shots, his power shots, and he caught him with definitely on the chin, and it took Julian down, and he ended it with a knockout. So it is what it is. It was early in the first round, and so there's Faber's guys. That's it. Artem and Saul, right? Artem and Saul in the finale. But wait a minute, towards the end of this episode, just crazy shit, man. Crazy. Saul lying about his visa, so he had to go back to his home country, and he can't get back to fight in the finale. So what does that mean? That means Ryan Hall has the opportunity to become the Ultimate Fighter, which is a crazy turn of events. I mean, that's insane. That was a big shock. I thought it was when I saw the lettering, I didn't think too much of it. I was like, oh, it's probably copyright infringement, blah blah blah. But no, man. I mean, it was about Saul and his situation. That's Dana White was like, yeah, this guy, man. What can I say? You never know. And you're right. You never freaking know. So that was insane, man. But it is, yeah, it definitely is. It's crazy, man. Ryan Hall versus Artem, and my prediction is Artem's gonna win the fight. As much as I want Ryan Hall to utilize his game to really get him to the ground, and he has a chance. He definitely has a chance to get Artem to the ground, because Artem is mostly just stand up. But actually, when I think about it, Ryan Hall could really get Artem to the ground. I could see that happening a lot in that fight. But I'm gonna say too that Artem, he's on another level. He's a training partner to McGregor, and it shows how much just above he was everybody else towards the last three fights when he knocked out everybody. Of course, he lost the fight to get into the house, but then in turn of events, he got into the house. Now he's been knocking out fools. But Ryan Hall, I would say he would win the fight, but the problem with Ryan Hall is he has no striking. It's all ground. It's all ground. And that's the problem. When you're in the UFC now, back in the day, you're fine. You're fine. I mean, there was a guy, Damian Maia, he was winning off the ground. Even Chuck was winning off stand-up, and he had ground defense, especially takedown defense. So Ryan Hall, the problem with that is you need the striking. There was nothing there in striking that made me believe that, yeah, this guy is a threat striking wise. I mean, everybody could knock out somebody. It just takes one punch, but I think Artem has him. I think Artem is smart enough. I think he knows that, yeah, Ryan Hall. And I think Ryan Hall was actually training with Artem before he got the call. So we'll see. We'll see. I have Artem winning, though, unless Ryan Hall really does get him to the ground. We'll see after that. But that's basically that was the last episode, technically the last episode of the season of Ultimate Fighter. Well, technically the last episode is the actual finale where these two fighters will fight, and it's an interesting matchup. Artem versus Ryan Hall, most definitely. It's stand up versus ground, and we'll see if Ryan could really utilize taking him down and maybe get that submission, but we'll see. I have Artem winning though. His strikes are just way too good. He's just a great fighter, man. So thank you guys for listening. If you haven't already, please hit that subscribe button. I would really appreciate it. It was a good season of Ultimate Fighter. Not the best, definitely not the best. Not even one of the greatest. You know, it's just not up. It's not as up there as you would think it is. But it was very entertaining with McGregor. McGregor, what he does, he is very entertaining. And you know what? He's a douche. He's a douchebag, I know, but I kind of like the guy. And I hate douchebags, but I kind of like the guy. He talks a lot, but you know he does back up some of his talk. But I know a lot of people hate McGregor, and I could see why. I could totally don't get me wrong. I could totally see why people hate McGregor. But as we stand now, I've got to do still some homework. I still think Jose Aldo will kick his ass, or not, just beat him. He'll definitely beat McGregor, but. Well, that I still have to do my homework, so I'm not putting my chips down yet. So, on that, I'm Daniel's son. You guys have a great one. Bye, guys.